Welcome to Future Focus, the Next Gen OD Canada podcast, your go-to source for insights and inspiration as you navigate your optometry journey.
Whether you're a student or a recent graduate in your first few years of practice, we're here to explore the topics that matter: career paths, job opportunities, board preparation, and more.
Each month, we'll bring you expert guests and practical tips to help you thrive in the world of optometry. So, let's shape the future of optometry together on Future Focus, the Next Gen OD Canada podcast. Hello, guys. Welcome back to Future Focus podcast. We are so excited to have you here today. We're sorry we took the month off. We have a baby cooking and a new journey on my end. So
yeah, you have like a new baby yourself. We both have babies.
Legit. So yeah, we're excited to talk to you today about kind of being an entrepreneur as an optometrist, both as a business owner and also some other things that Amrit and I have done on the side to supplement our income.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be a really fun episode too, because now we get to compare and just see, like, now that you have your own private practice and then I've had mine for about almost 3 years, I think it's going to be really interesting when we just go over the journey of how it came to be and just how different or how similar it is, like with the 3-year gap.
Yeah.
Right. And still us being young ODs, we're not old, but having that struggle with like opening, not during COVID. I mean, COVID business owners probably had the hardest challenges, but opening post-COVID in this world of like inflation and like uncertainties and just like tragedies. And so people are just, I guess, more nervous to spend money and go out. So it's like, hearing your journey and how it compares to mine, I think I'm excited to talk about it. And I hope everything that we share today was very helpful for everyone listening and inspires them or motivates them to keep pushing forward no matter what challenges are going to show up.
Yeah, for sure. Where should we start?
Okay, why don't we start with just like a quick little background of like what happened the last few months, like the last 2 months that we were gone.
Yeah.
So yes, I am pregnant. I made that announcement in December. My husband and I went through an IVF procedure. It was amazing. It was so smooth for me. It was a really positive experience. And I am 8 months pregnant now. So
baby's coming.
Baby's coming. I hope I don't breathe very heavily into the microphone. But honestly, my only challenge with pregnancy right now is patient care, because I talk so much and our job is to talk, right? It's to build that relationship with your patient. And so talking to one patient for 15 to 20 minutes feels like
a marathon.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's so difficult. I just run out of breath so fast. So I'm excited for the baby to come, and I'm excited to just be on maternity leave and focus on that instead of how much I have to talk all day to other people.
Yeah, you'll just be talking to your babe.
Just talking to my baby, and that's not even talking, just crying, right?
Yeah,
so like not as much.
Maybe talking to your husband like here and there, but like,
and like that's it.
Yeah, that's
it. And then I'm more excited for you to tell everyone what you've been up to.
Yeah, so I basically purchased a practice inside a private optical. So it was a older optometrist who was ready to retire, and he had moved all his patients from his existing practice to inside this optical, and he'd been there for about 5 years. And it's in a really great neighborhood in Toronto. And I randomly walked in one day. This was probably almost a year ago. And we've been in talks for a really long time. Been talking to a lot of people about what's the best decision to make. And ultimately, I figured this was a really kind of low risk decision, but like hopefully high reward. And yeah, so we are operating completely separately. So I have nothing really to do with the optical. The business owner of the optometry practice, I just invested in some equipment, so I'm excited for that to come. And yeah, it's been definitely a journey. And I think there's so many things that go into it at the beginning. Like I felt very overwhelmed at the beginning, and I feel a little bit better now that like things are up and running. My website's running, I've launched, and like I feel in a more comfortable place now. It's just kind of tying up loose ends.
Everything that you're saying, I'm like, memories are flashing back. Like, that's exactly what I felt. And actually, I just realized that now, even the way that we have our private practices are so different. So, you're in, I guess, would we consider it like a side by side?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, you're in a side by side.
Exactly.
And you're right. I mean, that is like the optimal way to dive in and be your own practice owner is a side by side because, there's a lot less risk, right? You're not in charge of optical buying inventory, having a lot of frames that now you feel pressured that, okay, well, now I need to sell these, right?
Hiring staff
To manage things. And all you have to do is you kind of do feel like, just like how you were with an associate, most of the days, it's like you go in, you see your patients, and then you check out. And like, that's all you really need to do. I mean, obviously there's more, but on a grand scale, it's what you can focus on is just what do you want for your patients? And like, that's it.
Yeah. And I think for me, it was like trying to figure out, like, I want to have a family soon. And so like trying to figure out how can I, do this right now where I feel comfortable leaving potentially for a bit of time. And I guess like for you with cold starting, you jumped into it before, but you dove. Yeah. Like cold starting is like kudos to you. And like, I looked into it and I think if it came down to it, I would have done it. Like if there was no other opportunity, like, you just do it and it takes longer to build, but like it'll be worth it.
No, you're absolutely right. Opening a full private practice, the whole shebang with the optical, with the eye exams, everything, hiring staff. It's a lot, but also, I mean, that's why I've shared this in the past on social media. I opened with a partner because I don't think I could have mentally and physically and financially handled that all on my own.
Yeah.
And then also we ended up finding a space that was perfect location, but way too big to start. But we just knew that the location was right. So we dove in really deep, opening up a very large practice, which, I would not recommend for people to do. If you open, a small practice with just a little bit of space that you need, it's not that daunting. It's, you're going to figure things out pretty quick. So I think what I want to start with, and I think what listeners would benefit from is just, again, knowing, what were those concrete steps that you took first when you decided that, like, I want a family, I want to make sure I have autonomy, I'm ready to open a practice. What were like the next steps that you did?
So, I think it was like, something that was on my mind for so long. And like, I think the first step before even like looking for an opportunity was talking to business owners and talking to people who are doing what I want to be doing and like picking their brains. And like, I had been doing that for like many, many years as an associate, listening to podcasts, talking to people, having people on our podcast and just having really, really strong mentors. And like people, like we talk about this all the time, but like people I have like in my back pocket who like, are like leaders in optometry who like, I would text with like crazy questions, not crazy, but like dumb questions, like probably to them, but like, we're so willing to help. And like, I honestly don't think I would have taken the plunge without those people. So like, that's step one for me is like finding people who are going to support you. And that's family too and friends. And like, whether that's financially or, banks, finding good banks that are willing to support you, right?
Yep. Good loans.
Yeah. So I think that's step one. And then I think step two is figuring out how you're going to, like, what's your journey? Is it partnership? Is it purchasing something? Is it cold starting? And for me, I looked at a couple different opportunities. I did look at partnering. I looked at purchasing like a full private practice and a building. I looked at purchasing a private practice that was fairly newer which was interesting. And then I came across this and it just felt right. And I think you'll know like when the opportunity feels right for you. I don't know if you felt the same.
Honestly, now, again, I feel like you're really jogging my memory
Yeah.
because when you said that you reached out to other business owners, I did the exact same thing. And I still remember like 3.5 years ago, I was contacting ODs that I've made connections with over Instagram, right? Like
Yeah.
over social media that, they live in other provinces, they practice in other areas, but they're all successful business owners that have been practicing for at least like, maybe 5 years or more, just to be like, what led you to open your practice? If I already went on their website and kind of saw little things that I loved or services that they provided, I kind of just started building more ideas first of just like, how did you bring this into your clinic? And, how did you work on your lease, work on your negotiations for your contracts? And what kind of space were you looking for if you wanted this niche? Like, anyone, again, I feel like we have to remind optometry students out there that ODs overall are so helpful and
Yeah.
supportive of each other. Like, don't be shy
Yeah.
to DM people, to send emails, to leave a phone call and just be like, hey, can I speak with your doctor when I have free time? I'm another OD just looking to get some advice.
And like that goes for us too. Like
Yeah, 100%.
always.
We're always going to be more than helpful to help other ODs if we can, or just like
Yeah.
share our experience. And that's what we're doing here. And then podcasts. Podcasts were a huge one for me too.
Yeah.
I was listening to some more private practice related podcasts when I was an associate doc.
Mhm.
And because private practice was kind of on my mind, but I was like, there's no way I can't afford it. It's just not the right time. The more and more I listen to these podcasts, it's like I just got ideas in my head of like, oh, I love how this owner is managing the customer service in their clinic. And, I don't work at clinics that do that. And am I able to integrate that into the clinics where I'm an associate? Not really, because
Right.
they already run their own way, right? And the owner wants to do things their way. So I think that's really what pushed me to finally find a partner and then, get a lawyer, get a real estate agent and like start looking around. So we
Yeah.
kind of, it's funny, we did the same thing.
Yeah. And I think we're still kind of like, I'm still working at the private practice I was at while doing this. And that's how you started too. And you kind of are now full time, technically part time, full
Yeah.
time in Northern Sight. And like, of course, that's the ultimate goal is to be
Yeah.
either that or I hire an associate to work on the days I'm not there.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I think, as a solo owner, that to me sounds like the most challenging part, right?
Yes.
You're the only doctor that's there. You have to put so much time and energy into that practice. And so it's tricky that, well, you need a job to pay the loans, to have
Right.
your business open, and then you need to be at your business to keep it open.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you manage that time? And even after speaking with other owners and even with me having a business partner, both of us spent 50% of our time at the clinic and then 50% of our time as an associate somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so even for us having a partner, the clinic was at an advantage where we could stay open 6 days a week.
Yeah.
But if we're not there full time, I find that the only challenge was that then we only put half of our energy into building the practice
Yeah.
because we're only there half of the time.
Yeah.
So even though we were technically combined, we were there full time, but it's almost like you're having two separate owners with two separate
Yeah.
like levels of motivation and ideas and managing skills that it makes your office feel almost like the growth is stagnant or very
Yeah.
slow because you can't be there all the time.
Yeah.
So like, I know you just opened, but are you feeling that so far? Or like, how are you managing your schedule?
I think like yes and no. Like I'm really grateful that like I have patients that like, I purchased files. So like
Yes.
those patients are coming back, which is amazing to see.
Mhm.
And like, I was really unsure, like, is it going to be busy at the beginning? Is it not? And like, I've had really, really great doctor days. And like, I
Yay.
think it's just trying to figure out, when can I be there a third day? When can I be there a fourth day?
Exactly.
And when is it worth it to ultimately continue to add days? And I've had different people tell me different things. Like I've had one doc who said, be there every day because you can take the walk and you can take the emerge. And like those people you're building your practice and like it's worth it. I don't think I'm there yet. And I think you have to do what feels right for you and financially what makes sense. But I do see myself like pretty soon being able to have a third day.
That's good advice because that's the exact same thing that we are always questioning, right? Like, how do we know if we need to spend more than 50% of our time at the clinic? Now there's two of us doctors, right? Because
Yeah.
we're partners. We have a second exam lane that we haven't equipped yet. So that's kind of a question for us too, is like, when are we going to spend the money to, buy equipment to
Yeah.
fill a second exam lane? Well, we're going to have to start looking at, how many days is our schedule full? And basically, are there opportunities that we're missing because we're full and that
Turning down people. Yeah.
exactly, right? And so if you're a solo owner, like in your situation, I mean, that's great advice from 1OD to think of being more of the opportunist of just like, hey, just, be there 5 days a week, full time. And like, even that one patient that comes in, it's more business for you. But I'd say on the other hand, yeah, you can look at the financial side of it. So,
Yeah.
how much money do you need to stay open that day?
Right.
And, how much money are you potentially losing from not being an associate that day
Yeah.
and just sitting there waiting for one person?
How many patients do I need to see?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the value of that, potential emergency patient if you're not really getting a lot, of patients the other days? How many are you losing by staying closed?
Right.
So those are going to be a lot of different values that, can help you figure that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, see, it goes back to so many different ODs are going to be willing to share information, which basically just, I hope, makes people feel less anxious or less nervous about opening a private practice.
Yeah. I think too, like, if you want to talk about how you decided to, I mean, you always knew you were a pediatric focused on like that wasn't ever a question, but like,
Yeah.
how did you start that integration? And like, I know you were doing, like, you're still doing your own vision therapy sessions.
Yep.
Like, what
I'll
went
be
into that?
I'll be very honest, actually. I don't think I've ever talked about like the VT side of my practice that often,
Yeah.
actually, on social media, like of how it like came to be. But yeah, I loved peds, and that is one reason why I wanted more autonomy with pediatric eye exams, right? Because those exams were not reimbursed that much. And so at certain practices, sometimes, pediatric eye exams are not prioritized as much. And
Yes.
I love seeing kids and I want to see more of them on my schedule. So seeing peds is fine because it's part of a routine eye exam. So I can control my schedule, which is great. My days are pretty much filled with kids all the time.
Yeah.
But the VT room, what's interesting is that even though I love VT and it is my specialty, I always did vision therapy as an associate doc, right?
Yeah.
So like that clinic already has the therapist there.
Yeah.
They have the VT room, they have the pricing, they have everything set up. And I'm just the doctor. I waddle in, do my BV tests, send them for VT, and then I check on them and yay, everything's great. And I get
Yeah.
to go home. So managing one small vision therapy room in my office is so much harder, by yourself. And I have to train my staff on how to manage the therapy schedule. I had to write up the contract for VT, decide on the
Yeah.
pricing, purchase all the equipment, and make those hard decisions on what equipment can I
You
afford
need-
now
yeah.
and right, what to get later. And the hardest part that I've never really shared before was my own like imposter syndrome, right? Like me doing vision therapy without a therapist. The doctors don't often do the
Right.
therapy in the room anymore. So I
Right.
haven't done vision therapy with the patient for almost like 4 years at that point.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so I was so nervous and had such a lack of confidence that my vision therapy room stayed empty for the first year that we opened.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't sign up any therapy patients. I barely took BV assessments,
Oh my God.
and I recommended VT, but I was very shy about it. Very like, oh, let's try glasses first, and almost tried to like push it off just
Yeah.
because I was too nervous to do it.
Wow.
And so my room stayed empty for a year, which is awful. Like, that's revenue that I could have generated, but it just, yeah, you get imposter syndrome when you start working like on your own.
Yeah.
And then all it takes is one patient, right? One patient. I got one patient who was desperate, really wanted to sign up, drove all the way from Toronto to see me every week. And I did therapy on him. And I was like, oh, this isn't bad at all.
Yeah.
I can totally handle this.
Yeah.
And now it's like second nature. I have patients enrolled all the time. I'm managing it, another year and a half later. It feels so natural. But that's kind of how like the journey went into integrating my niche into my practice.
So do you feel like because like you're like a behavioral optometrist that like you prefer to see not those types of cases, but like, kids and like resolving their issues with like glasses and bifocals and like trying to do things more like that route versus like therapy route? I guess young kids is like tough to do therapy on.
I do therapy on toddlers. I have a toddler program. So
Like how young though?
I mean, the youngest that signed up was 3.
Okay. That's pretty young.
Yeah, it is. And I've spoken to a few other VT clinics and like they don't take toddlers. Like they don't.
I think we do at Baby, we do like 3 to 4. Like I think we do. Yeah.
And some don't. Some start at school age, right? They're like, come when they're 4 or 5 years old and then they can start. And obviously, again, you learn like with your own niche, whatever service you offer, if you have a certain patient demographic. Now, this is the best part. You have autonomy. You can decide what to do and who to accept, like based on your comfort level and your experience level. And I'm totally comfortable with toddlers, but I actually modify that program where it's a monthly VT program. It's not even weekly, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't have the physical capacity and the physical energy to see the same toddler once a week. So it's a monthly program versus, ages 4 and up are weekly.
Yeah, that's great.
And for your, dry eye is definitely one of your passions.
Yeah.
So how are you going to integrate it into your practice? Have you already done it? Are you planning for it later?
Yeah. So I think like for me, it was, okay, how can I start out? And, the doctor who was working before me, who I bought the practice from, like was not even using pharmaceuticals. So,
oh, wow.
Or like drops or heat masks or anything. So like my first step was like, okay, like let's bring in products. And so that's where I started. I'm doing Zest treatments as well. So I started where I feel like, it's sustainable and like I can get people thinking about it and just like using something, because a lot of these patients weren't doing anything. So it's like, that's a really hard sell to be from like nothing to IPL.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It would be a big jump.
So, obviously that's my passion and like that's where I see the practice going. But it's like figuring out when is the right time to invest in that equipment. Where am I doing those procedures? Like right now I have one exam lane, so it would have to be in that chair. And yeah, I think it'll come. I don't think it's going to be necessarily within the first year even.
Yeah.
But I think building that trust, and I think I've learned that it's like you probably aren't going to sell these treatments unless someone's really suffering on the first round, like on the first time you meet someone. It's like them coming back and, you mentioning it that first time and then them coming back and be like, oh yeah, I'm actually still symptomatic. And like, what are those treatments you were talking about? And then it's easier to have someone, sign up.
Yeah. I think the best part about you having like a whole patient roster already though is that you already have some level of data on them.
Yeah.
Where like, I mean, I'm sure you have like exam charts or, some exam history on them. So, I mean, obviously, who knows how much time it would take you to like dig through all of it.
It's not that bad. Like
Yeah.
The files are this big.
Oh, not bad.
Don't clip that
But
video.
still, right? I mean, then it's like you already have like your demographic there to be like, okay, now I know the age demographics. I already know these previous diagnostic codes or like
Yeah.
diagnoses that they've had. So it's like I already know, 10%, 20% of these patients already are diagnosed with dry eyes
Right.
and or, are seniors and having a lot of dry eye issues potentially. So I think for you, you're lucky in that sense that you can make those
Yeah.
business decisions a bit more early on to get a sense of
Yeah.
if you throw out like an e-blast, if you throw out like a little postcard, a little,
Like, are you interested? Like,
yeah, are you interested? Hey, we might have a day where we like bring in info about IPL, host like a little info sesh.
right.
And it's like you already have the patient's info to just send to them to be like, come to the office and learn about it. Whereas for us, we, opened our clinic cold in a new construction zone area, families still moving in. And so it's like the families are still learning this neighborhood and
Yeah.
we're still getting to learn all the people that are coming in. So for us, when we opened, it really felt like everything is starting from scratch. We
Yeah.
have no idea what the demographic is. We have no idea what they like, what they don't like, what their common issues will be, what their common, occupations are.
Yes.
So for us, it was more of a learning curve. We'd bring something in,
Right.
try it out, and then see, is it a hit or are
Yeah.
people just not loving it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's also interesting is when you purchase a practice, you almost feel like you have to like sell yourself to these patients because they are so used to like a certain doctor, and most of these people have been coming to this doctor for many, many years, and like
Yeah.
they know him well, and so like all of a sudden you go from seeing like someone well into their 80s
Yes.
who's like this young like woman. They're like,
Definitely doesn't look like she's in her 80s.
yeah, like they're like, who, like, whoa, like this is like a complete 180. And like a lot of people have been very receptive. And like I said, it's very nice. But like I think that initial encounter is just like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
you're the
Like,
new doctor. And
yes.
so it takes time to build that versus I think with you, it's also daunting in a way, but people are coming, knowing kind of what to expect.
Yeah, like people are coming in to our office in a plaza that's also newly built. Like
Yeah.
everything is new. So
Right.
it's a medical plaza. Like they're coming in with a new pharmacy, a new family doctor, a new physio, new everything. So when they come in to see us, I guess that is the nice part that there's almost no
There's no
expectation.
expectation. Yeah.
They don't know who we are
Right.
yet. They just read some Google reviews and are like, okay, we'll go.
Yeah.
But for you, yeah, that must be daunting. But I find that what typically happens when a new owner comes in is that usually you guys will work like side by side a little bit or like, take some days and the owner will kind of introduce.
Yeah. It didn't happen that way, but like that also was like kind of my, like, not my choice, but like, he was like really ready to retire. And I think like,
I mean, at 80, I think our generation's ready to retire at like 40. Like, I don't know how he's still going. Good for him for still going.
he was so nice and he still is so nice. And like, he's obviously there to support me. And if I need anything, like he's a ring away. And he did tell like his patients that I was coming in, but he didn't see like this happened within the span of like less than a year. So it wasn't like he was telling people for that long.
Yeah. So it was a very quick transition for you to come in without that like slow introduction where
Right.
the owner's like, oh, here's, this new doctor. She's working 2 days a week. Like,
Yeah.
and then she'll do 3 and then
Right.
4, there wasn't that transition phase for you. So yeah, I can imagine it's like a big shock when they come in.
Yeah.
But also when your any doctor is 80.
Yeah. People expected it.
Yeah. Like I'd be shocked if like my doctor is maybe like in their early 60s, late 60s, and I'm still expecting that I'll see them for like the next couple of years. But I mean, at 80, I'm sure the patients are like, Doc, when are you going to just like relax and stay home now? Like,
Yeah.
go home and get someone else to take
like,
over.
yeah,
now.
no one was shocked. Like, let's just
Yeah.
put it that way. Like, everyone was like
That's good.
expecting it.
That's good.
I guess like let's end with like one piece of advice or like something you would do differently if starting today for people who maybe, 4 years earlier than us who are like just starting as an associate
Oh,
and they always had this like envision owning in their mind.
I think advice from me, like looking back, I don't think I can ever give advice to say, like, this is how you can prepare better. Because at the end of the day, we were never trained to be business owners. We never learned about owning a business, and everyone's business is managed and built differently, right?
Right.
So I don't think I could ever tell someone, like, here's the game plan, and this is what you should do to prepare yourself, because there's always going to be something thrown at you that just really rattles you, and you have to learn. But my biggest advice would be open early, like start earlier. If you are dabbling at the idea of practicing, like owning something for yourself, just open earlier. It's
Yeah.
giving you more years to grow, more years to build, and then it brings you, in my opinion, closer to your career goals,
Yeah.
financial goals, work-life balance goals versus if you start any X amount of years later down the road.
Yeah.
That would be my advice. Just start early, 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 early.
Would you tell someone to start right out of school?
If you can manage the like juggling the student loans with the bank loans, and there are ways to manage
Yeah.
it. I'm not a financial planner. I can't give you that advice, but people do that. There are students who open up right out of school, and it is possible. Just talk to someone, talk to a financial
Yeah.
planner about how you can actually do it.
Right.
And I'd say, yeah, you can totally do it.
For me, I feel like it's those like first years are like just focus on like learning how to see patients. Like those.
Oh, yes. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean like jump right out of school to
Okay.
but like the minute you start thinking
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
"Oh, I would love to just be my own owner." Like, right? Because you said that too, like, I was having these thoughts. I was having thoughts for maybe like a year and a half before like I made the decision. So, like if you're having those thoughts, do it. That's my advice. Don't like jump into it if you don't know how to do an eye exam.
Yeah. No, I think like I was hesitant
Yeah.
about it for many, many years. And I think like everyone kept saying, just like do something, like figure it out.
Yeah.
But I just never felt like it was the right time. And I don't know if you ever will, but just if something is pulling you, do it or you'll regret it.
Yeah, that's definitely also my advice.
Yeah.
Is there any other different advice that you give just for anyone who's interested?
I don't think so. Like, I think you said it well. And I think, like,
Yeah.
ownership isn't for everyone, and that's totally fine. And, like, there's other ways in optometry to have autonomy and do your own thing. And, if being an associate is your jam, like, you can still make a really good living and, have, clock in and clock out. And
And have a good work-life balance, because if you're a practice owner, you do not have a work-life balance. Your whole life is work, even when you don't want it to be, and then you'll regret not being an associate. No, I'm kidding.
no, yeah, no.
I guess I would leave with one other thing that you and I have both experienced that we didn't talk about, and I just want to end off
Yeah.
on that quickly too. That in addition to if you're thinking about it, don't be scared, just do it, because when you're an associate, I know that you and I both, when we had those thoughts of opening, we also had that fear a little bit of what is our employer going to think?
Yeah.
Like, what is the clinic going to think where we are an associate doc? Like, are we going to upset that clinic? Or is it competition? Is it, competitive? Like, are
Yeah.
they going to be upset? Are they going to fire us or anything? I think we had those anxieties. And then at the end of the day, we were so anxious to tell the owners of those clinics that we opened our own places. And I know we both had the same experience, but I can only speak for me. My owners were so supportive and so happy. And I didn't tell them that I was opening for like 8 months. Like I was so nervous
Yeah.
that they were going to be upset. And they
Yeah.
were so welcoming and helpful. And then they gave me advice on how to open. Like,
Yeah, I had the same experience. And I think if you, are working for the right people, that
Yes.
should be their response. And if
Yes.
it's
Yes.
not, then leave.
Absolutely. If that's not their response and they're not happy for you,
Yeah.
oh, thank God you left that place and leave now and work part-time somewhere else.
If the response is happy and then there is resentment later on,
That's
too.
you leave
Like,
then too. And
yeah,
that's okay because
yeah,
then you'll have your own baby.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we love this. I think this is a good episode, and like I'm excited for people to listen and share your feedback with us, DM us, and let us know what you thought. And we will be having more frequent episodes, so stay tuned.
And if you live in the GTA, I mean, if you're ever in Vaughan, you're more than welcome to visit Northern Sight Optometry. You can always contact our office and come visit. We always do get emails from students who want to just come and shadow a little bit or just come visit and say hi.
Yeah,
Or take a look at the office, ask us questions, look at the equipment, whatever you want to do. And I'm sure
of
Alexa's going to be
course.
the same way because we're more than happy to
Yeah,
share, how we're practicing.
I love my shadowers
Yeah, me too.
and maybe future employers
Yeah, all the time.
or
Every student,
employees, not employers.
employees,
We are never going to work for someone again.
yeah, every student that comes and like visits our practice or shadows with us, like they're just, I mean, it already tells you that those are the students or like the
Yeah,
future ODs that like go above and beyond and like really, want to build their career and they have motivation. So it's always fun meeting them. It's always, always nice.
yeah, it's great. Okay, well, please comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Yep. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Future Focus, the Next Gen OD Canada podcast.
You can find us on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. For episode summaries and more resources, visit us at icarebusiness.ca.
Be sure to follow Next Gen OD on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for updates, news, and more insights into the world of optometry. Don't forget to check out the show notes at icarebusiness.ca. Until next time, stay focused on your future.